911, what is the address of your emergency?
There was a caller on the line. He had seen video of a girl in a cage.
He saw her. He described her crying.
In this cage on the floor. It was like a dungeon.
He had an entire room that was devoted to the torture of others.
The girl you just heard about is Alicia Kozakiewicz. On January 1, 2002, she disappeared in the middle of the night.
The abduction captured the nation's attention as few cases do.
She was abducted in an internet-related attack. What happened?
It's exactly every parent's nightmare.
Sit and watch it on TV and you never think it can happen to you. My God, when it does happen,
your mind is just going to every horror movie you've ever seen.
She had agreed to meet a friend she'd been chatting with online for 6 months.
A child predator luring a child.
How could you even have a relationship with somebody typing to them on a screen?
We were dealing with a very, very sick person.
Typically in these cases, you don't often find these children alive.
Kidnapped, assaulted, and left for dead, Alicia Kozakiewicz was soon to be gone unless, by some miracle, the police could trace the internet predator holding her and finally put an end to his reign of terror.
At this point, it was very rare that Alicia Kozakiewicz would have been found alive.
Hoping, praying, and wishing for news.
But are we going to be able to find her in time?
It's the first day of the new year in 2002. In the Kozakiewicz home in Pittsburgh, Alicia's mother, Mary, has just finished cooking dinner. She sends Alicia's brother to get her from her room. However, when he enters the room, Alicia is nowhere to be found.
My son went up to get her. And he comes down and says, Mom, she's not up there. My thought was that, of course, she's up there. She's just in another room.
Together, they search every corner, looking under beds, checking behind dressers, and even scanning the bathroom, but there's no trace of her.
She was just gone.
Her coat is still hanging on the hook, her boots are neatly placed by the door, and her purse is still on the desk. It's cold outside, and it seems unlikely she would go out without her coat or boots. But where could she be? This dramatic behavior is not something Alicia would do. She was usually always at home, in her room, doing homework or playing on the computer. As panic rises, the family realizes the front door isn't completely shut.
We didn't notice that the front door wasn't shut completely. At that point, we began to become frightened.
One thing is for sure, she wouldn't be alone on the streets because she still has a fear of the dark. But what if something sinister happened? In a state of panic, Mary dials 911. Moments later, the police arrive at their doorstep. The first questions they ask are, "Officer, did you guys fight? Did anything go wrong? Maybe she ran off?" Mary firmly believes Alicia didn't just run off.
And I said, we didn't have a fight. She doesn't have anybody to run away with. So as a parent, you're thinking, absolutely not. No, she didn't run away.
Mary is gripped by fear and frustration. Suddenly, the police deliver the bad news. Local law enforcement must wait 24 hours before officially declaring Alicia missing. It's a standard procedure, and they can't do anything right now. The family is in complete disbelief. Alicia could be in grave danger at this very moment, fearing for her life and possibly living her last minutes, even seconds. Time is of the essence.
Law enforcement's estimation was that she was most likely out with some friends and that she'd be home shortly. And when she did show up, to give them a call and let them know.
Until then, they can only wait. But Mary knows this is not something Alicia would do.
We sat there in the house, listening to the clock tick away, seconds of that long, long night. It is the most helpless, terrifying, devastating, emotional feeling that you will ever have.
The lights are all on, the doors unlocked, and the curtains wide open. They're praying their child sees this and finds her way back home. Knowing that Alicia is out there somewhere and without any idea what she's going through, they feel hopeless as they wait. The night feels like it will never end. But then Alicia's father, Charles, decides to dial 911 once more. This time he emphasizes that his 13-year-old daughter has not run away. Finally, his persistence gets results. Pittsburgh police swiftly pass on the details to the Crimes Against Children Task Force. Immediately, They mobilize federal, local, and state law enforcement, including the FBI. With no waiting period, they launch an investigation. As the FBI agents arrive at the Kozakiewicz home, they separate Mary and Charles and begin interrogating them separately. Mary: "They separated my husband and I. Then we were questioned separately. They went through everything." The agents tried to piece together what went down the day before. The parents describe Alicia as a sweet but somewhat reserved child. Mary Alicia was usually the quiet one among her friends. It doesn't seem like she planned to run away either, because she didn't take any cash or clothes. Since there aren't any hints of family trouble, task force investigators and FBI agents conclude that Alicia hasn't run away. They were, in our opinion, legitimately concerned their daughter was missing. They declare her officially kidnapped. The police start questioning neighbors, but they haven't seen anything strange. Tonight, with zero clues nor a crime scene, agents start questioning parents about where Alicia usually met new people. They found out she didn't go out very often, nor was she an outgoing person, but she did spend a lot of time on her computer. We had worked enough of these cases to know that if there's a computer involved, it may be involved in what happened here. So we talked to the parents about what her use of the computer was and how lengthy it was. A computer was introduced into their household as a gift for the children, aimed at enhancing their academic performance, assisting with homework, and helping with research. It also served as a means for the kids to interact with each other and enjoy some leisure time. Upon monitoring the computer use, investigators noticed Alicia spent a lot of time in online chat rooms. However, when they asked the parents about this, they seemed oblivious and didn't have any clue who she may have been talking to. So in the case of our cyber crime victims, as far as child abduction, the computer could be a crime scene, and that's why we took a computer that day to take a look at it. As Mary Kozakiewicz watches the FBI seize her daughter's computer for examination, a terrifying thought comes to her mind: the possibility that something they introduced into their household might have led to a horrific outcome for their child sends panic through her whole body. Panic is rising, terror is rising. I was so scared. I was so cold. It was like ice water was running in my veins. It has now been 3 hours since Alicia Kozakiewicz disappeared. Investigators grow increasingly convinced that she's fallen victim to a crime. This presents two chilling possibilities. Either she's been kidnapped by a stranger while out that night, or she's been lured away by a predator. As time slips away, the chances of finding Alicia are getting thinner by the second. At FBI headquarters, technicians search Alicia's computer history. Alicia engaged in a lot of chatting using various platforms like iMessaging, AOL messaging, and instant chat. The FBI team requests a printout of all her conversations. Most of the chats are typical of a 13-year-old girl gossiping with her friends about boys in school, and nothing stands out as immediately suspicious. In Kozakiewicz's home, Mary is frantically trying to stay occupied and offer assistance however she can. When your child's missing, your mind races in a million different ways to all the horrible things that could happen. Every bad thing you've ever read or heard, or every movie you've ever seen. A friend of hers rushes over. She notices her stunned state and realizes Mary's not thinking clearly. She grabs the phone book and calls the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The woman from the center urges her to post pictures around the area and online. This is the only thing she can do at the moment. Subsequently, the local media is doing everything they can to spread the word about Alicia. Alicia's parents are frantic with worry, desperate to ensure this story gets as far away as possible and that local reporters take it seriously. This is a photo of 13-year-old Alicia Kozakiewicz. Her parents say she disappeared from their Crafton Heights home shortly after dinner on New Year's Day. As Mary watches the news on TV, she starts praying that someone out there has noticed something, someone willing to step up, make the call, anything. Alicia's story spreads across screens, but the silence is deafening. Agent Clinton and his partner revisit Alicia's family, probing deeper for answers. To them, this looks exactly like a case of grooming. My first thought is, this is very typical of the process of grooming. In 2002, online chats were still a relatively new thing, and there hadn't been many cases like this before. Authorities tried to explain to parents the grooming process, where someone pretends to be a young person in a chat room, telling the child what they want to hear, and then the grooming begins. These teenagers, unaware of any hidden motives, naturally lean towards someone who showers them with affection and attention they lack elsewhere. This manipulative tactic is a form of brainwashing, where the predator cunningly becomes the child's closest confidant, molding their beliefs and thoughts to align with their own. As the grooming progresses, the predator eventually suggests meeting in person. Typically in these cases, you don't often find these children alive. And that's what my partner and I feared. If the FBI was correct about a chat room being at the core of this situation, and if Prince Charming was waiting outside her home just to say hello, who wouldn't be tempted to step out for a moment? With no signs of Alicia for more than a day, Tom Clinton and his partner decided to visit Alicia's school seeking answers. They spoke with Alicia's classmates and teachers. These conversations revealed new information that contrasted with what they'd heard from her parents. Classmates shared how Alicia often arrived at school exhausted, mentioning late-night computer sessions. It appeared Alicia had been hiding secrets from her family all along. But then the classmates told us she was actually chatting with an older man online. She had been talking to him for a while and they had plans to meet. Back at the office, the investigators felt confident in their progress. Their past experiences told them this child could be in grave danger. With 27 hours gone, the situation looked worse by the minute. If Alicia had been abducted, the predator remained unidentified, leaving investigators in the dark about what horrors she might be enduring. But then, a spark of hope appeared. The FBI received a call from Florida about a missing girl in Pittsburgh who bore a striking resemblance to Alicia Kozakiewicz. Rescuers were now in a race against time to find her, scouring the darkest corners of the internet. The dread was palpable as they realized the child was in the clutches of someone intent on causing harm. It was a chilling reality. As panic rose, investigators frantically searched for the mysterious older man, whom friends said Alicia met online. The clock was ticking, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The agents didn't know the identity of the man Alicia had been talking to online. Even her friends were clueless. All they knew was that it was a guy, and she was up late chatting with him. Quickly, they reached out to the tech expert assigned to the case, suggesting they focus on the time between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., hoping to uncover a username or chat that might point to the guy she met online. They spotted conversations asking for photos, among other things. In the meantime, local media kept airing Alicia's photos, hoping someone had seen something. After 39 intense hours, investigators hit a dead end, no closer to cracking the identity of their mystery man or locating Alicia. And the mystery surrounding Alicia's whereabouts deepened by the minute. Abductions were not frequent, but when they did happen, they usually had a terrible outcome, and reporters knew that. Then a breakthrough occurred. Agent Tom Carter's phone buzzed. As the acting supervisor of the Violent Crime Squad, he took the call from the FBI switchboard operator. The caller from Florida claimed to have vital information regarding a missing girl in Pittsburgh. What he told me was that he had been talking to this individual online in a Yahoo chat room. The caller was a member of a legal adult fantasy chat room, and he had received a link to a private video from another participant in the chat. He had seen a video being live-streamed of a naked girl in a cage, who looked a lot like the girl missing from Pittsburgh. He describes her. She's crying, and it's obvious she's been hurt. He's scared to do anything. He really doesn't want to get mixed up in it. As the man describes what he's seeing, Tom Carter is trying to gather as much information as he can. He's urging him to tell him who he is. I was fearful that that guy would never call back, but the man is done talking. He hangs up. If the girl in the video is indeed Alicia, it suggests she's currently facing a horrible situation. Investigators must swiftly trace the anonymous caller, but their efforts hit a roadblock when the call leads them to an empty payphone in Tampa, Florida. Alicia hasn't been seen for 2 days prior to that call. The fear factor just ramped up as they worry about the girl's safety, knowing she's in the clutches of someone intent on causing harm. It's terrifying. It was definitely a sense of dread to know that that child is in the hands of a perpetrator who wants to do evil things to her. It was really pretty horrific. It's clear they're dealing with a seriously disturbed individual. Time is of the essence. Every passing moment is crucial. The entire team is committed to finding the perpetrator and rescuing Alicia. FBI agents tirelessly scour the internet, hoping to find the video of the girl they suspect to be Alicia, but so far, their efforts yield nothing but frustration. Meanwhile, in Florida, the anonymous caller remains in the dark. But then, all of a sudden, the phone rings again. It's the caller from Florida calling back. We were on the line for approximately 2 to 3 hours, me talking to him, trying to convince him that he needed to do the right thing and tell us what he knew. The person on the line from Florida feels ashamed. He's been caught in a chat room he'd rather keep hidden. But when he realizes someone in the chat might be a threat to a young girl, he knows he can't stay silent. He's determined to assist the FBI in saving the girl he spotted trapped online. But when the investigator asks for his identity, that's where he puts his foot down. Talking with him on the phone is one thing, but sitting down with the FBI, that's a whole different thing. The FBI arranges for Alicia's parents to be flown to Virginia for the long-awaited reunion they thought might never happen. She was standing there, and she was so beautiful. It was as if they brought somebody back from the dead. As Alicia finally reunites with her family, she recounts the horrors of the past 3 days. I got up from the table, and I walked out of that front door. I heard my name being called, and this man was squeezing my hand so tightly that I thought it was broken. She recounts things he did to her. When they got to his home, he dragged me inside of this house, took off all of my clothing, and put a locking dog collar around my neck. But despite all the horrors she has endured, she has not lost hope that her parents will rescue her. I realize this very likely would result in him murdering me, and I need to stay alive as long as possible. The FBI, after a job well done, found Alicia alive and put Scott behind bars. They gave me a second chance at life.